idea that you wanted to really be a walking computer?
So I've always been a tech enthusiast, and I always try to be on the cutting edge of technology.
So that drove Brandon Delali to do what some might believe only takes place in a science fiction movie.
It gets inserted into your skin.
A chip, and not the type you eat, but a microchip, has been implanted in Brandon's left hand.
This one is just a little guy right there.
Yeah, I see that right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So after that was inserted and the swelling went down, I'm able to open up the front and back door to my house. I can walk up to people and have them tap their phone to my hand and instantly transfer my contact information, my portfolio, my COVID vax card.
But Brandon got to thinking, why stop there? He's got two hands, right? And plenty of room for more chips.
So I thought, how cool would it be if I could leave my house, no car key, no house key.
So 2 weeks ago, right here in Michigan, Brandon got another chip implanted, this one in his right hand, to unlock and start his Tesla.
It's a perfect backup, something you can never forget, something that doesn't break, something that won't fail you.
And if you think having chips implanted in your body requires a doctor or is costly, well, think again.
The chips themselves are anywhere from between $200 and $300, and the install only ran me about $100 because you can go to a local piercing shop who will obviously agree to do the installation. All the programming and coding of putting the apps on the chip, that's all done by me.
Moving forward, Brandon is thinking about having other chips implanted in his body.
So it'll be inserted right under or right over your breast, and then you can tap your phone to your chest and instantly get temperature readings.
And with all this talk about chips, Brandon hopes the chip for the Tesla gets the attention of you-know-who.
It would make all this worth it if maybe just like a thumbs up from Elon or something, or a simple emoji. I don't know, that'd be pretty cool.
Idea.
The technology is RFID and NFC, which is near field communication. So the RFID side is what has my student ID, and that's what a lot of the security systems where you put a key card up to a door and it unlocks it. The NFC is something that's in almost all phones now, where if your phone can do Google Pay, Apple Pay, any of that, it has NFC. And what that means is if you put your phone up to my hand, it adds my contact to your phone. And there's other things I'm able to have it do, and I can reprogram it with my phone instantly. I can't feel them. I would never know. But if I can feel that there's an implant in there, and you can see it right there, kind of, pushing against the skin. The overall reaction from my peers has been pretty positive. I've had some relatives who were more confused as to why I would do it. And I have one uncle who is very, suspicious of everything. And I can't wait to see him this Thanksgiving because he's going to have a lot to say. I use isopropyl alcohol to clean off everything beforehand. I use the wipes in the area where it would be going in. And then essentially I just laid my hand down and used one, just got it in there. I was a little nervous, but before being computer science, I was planning to go into pre-med, so I already had a lot of experience with using medical equipment like this. I don't have a ton of experience because I was still in high school, but I had enough to where I was confident in not killing myself with it. It is a great conversation starter. I've been in classes where they're like, all right, everyone, what's your name and a fun fact about you? Usually it's hard to top something like this.
So make a fist and squeeze the tag to the top of my skin. When I approach the device, it opens the Facebook page I set it to.
Colin Crovino has a microchip implanted in both of his hands.
Some people just look really grossed out. I put my hand up and I let them poke at it and they freak out.
Developed in the 1950s and 60s, RFID chips, short for radio frequency identification, have been used by retailers to track packages and prevent theft. Farmers use the chips to keep tabs on their livestock. Pet owners use them to identify their cats and dogs. And lately, members of the so-called body hacker movement have been implanting RFID chips under their skin, programming them to perform various tasks. Colin Crovino, a smartphone repairman in Brooklyn, New York, uses his chips to open his front door. He found them on a website called Dangerous Things that sells implant kits and offers user tips.
I came across it when I was doing research on the Samsung deadbolt that I bought. And then the first thing that I noticed was that I could get an RFID tag that would work with the deadbolt.
Crovino plans to modify one of his motorcycles next.
And I haven't decided on where I want to put the authenticator, the antenna, thinking probably down by the seat somewhere because this comes off. So I would just tap my hand on it. Then the light would come on as if I put the key in, and then I would just hit the ignition and start the vehicle.
RFID retailers estimate that between 30 and 50,000 people worldwide have chip implants in their bodies. German tech consultant Andreas Sjöström used his chip as a boarding pass on a recent flight from Stockholm to Paris, and to get into an airport VIP lounge. Skeptics say the implants raise privacy issues and worry that strangers could tap into the information on a chip without the owner's knowledge. Others say potential uses for the technology, such as keeping track of a patient with dementia, could pose ethical concerns. Crovino and others see a future where technology and the human form will merge.
I think when it becomes more prevalent and there's a lot more things and options that you can do with this, that people will, opt in for that kind of augmented human sort of attitude. That's why I have an Android device and not an iPhone, is because I want to be able to customize everything I have, so why should I not be able to customize myself?
This is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. This is where 666 comes from. Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakopradash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 1/3 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about how the microchip implants, which are coming, are being normalized among society. And we just watched a couple of videos that show how the implantable RFID chips, which are the mark of the beast, right? Because again, now those particular ones there, those aren't necessarily the mark of the beast, and that's because that isn't given by Esau, right? These are, self-implanted, unless, they have a secret, deal with the government. But the point being is that when the overall system, the worldwide system that they're putting into place, right? The World Economic Forums, right? The true leaders of the world, right? The Bible refers to them as the Edomites. Once they set up their world's economic system and social credit system and identification system, the same one that Trump talks about, the same one that the European Union political people say that we need, the same one that the Queen of Netherlands said that we desperately needed, is they're talking about this worldwide issue ID, which eventually will be issued and mandatory to be placed on an RFID chip that's either planted in your hand or in your head. Okay, and we know about Elon Musk's Neuralink, right? The brain implant, and he's only one of many companies out there worldwide that are developing these chips. Now they've already had these chips; they developed them for a while now, but now they're getting ready to pitch them to the people. And how easy will it be for them to push the mark of the beast upon the people than to already have it introduced into society, have it being brought up as a cool, hip, high-tech thing to do. And look, you could open up your Tesla door, and oh look, you'll never forget your keys, and oh look, you'll be able to leave your credit card and your ID behind. See, all these things these devils are planning, right, to ensnare the inhabitants of the world. And this ultimately goes back to a Levitical law that explains that if a master had a slave that that had met his 7 years of servitude, he was, then obliged to set him up and set him free, right? And then decide if he wanted his, if that slave, however, wanted to stay with the master, because let's say he had a wife and children under that captivity, well, that means that those children aren't the slaves. They belong to the master of the house. And some slaves would want to just stay at the house, attach themselves to the master, or basically to that household, and live amongst their family and, be part of like the household, right? And what they would do is, it tells you in the Bible how you would have to take a yule, which is basically like an ice pick, and the master would drive it through the ear of the slave into the doorpost of the house, materialistically signifying that the slave has now joined himself onto the master's household, and that's what ultimately this mark of the beast is, you see, and that's what these Edomites are ultimately trying to do. They want to ultimately make a perpetual slave out of all the people of the world, where they're going to be in perpetual rulership. But again, what does the Bible tell us? It tells us that the Lord is going to destroy their plans. All right, this is Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And this is ultimately Job describing or giving like a description of what the wicked, right, basically the Edomites, that we know them now as the Edomites in this end of days, right? Because that's the whole, that's the thing about the Bible, right? You're given, one of the mysteries of the Bible is that you have to figure out who is the wicked, right? That being, who is the wicked nation, right? The children of Satan. And that would be none other than the Edomites, right? The biblical name for the so-called Caucasian race, which also includes the so-called Israelis, because they're the same people. They descend from the same person, that being Esau, right? The wicked twin brother of Jacob, who us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans descend from. Okay? Well, in this case here, Job was telling us, he was prophesying that the Lord would eventually destroy these devils, these Edomites, when they are about to fill their belly. Not necessarily meaning that they're going to, when they're about to get, finished eating, but when they are about to finish their agenda of world domination and planting the entire world with the biometric IDs that they're going to call them, or I'm sure they're going to have some sort of hip marketed, PR tested name for these, but when they start to initiate them, they're going to get a good chunk of the world. They're going to get 2/3 of the world, okay, and everything that they need, from taking their snake bites, which has changed people's genome, right? They're no longer what is the Bible tells us in Genesis, right? The whole earth had corrupted its flesh. Well, that's happening again, okay, and people are doing it spiritually, physically, right? There's people who are cutting off limbs to get on biometric implants. It's crazy, right? We are living in a crazy time when wickedness has fully grown up, as the Bible tells us, right? And though it seems like it's gonna be a bad ending, remember the Bible tells us right here that these devils are gonna ultimately pay for the wickedness. And what's gonna happen to them? Well, they're gonna rain. The Lord is gonna rain down these nukes upon these devils, okay? Because World War III is going to break out. All this escalation that we're seeing right now between, the West and the East is going to continue. And there's an image today, a map showing the U.S. Naval forces around the Levant, around the Middle East, and they're everywhere, man. Especially off the coast of Iran. So this thing's about to kick off, Akim, and I'm sure when we get closer to the elections, things are only going to get hotter. Let's read this. This is James 4 and 7. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So remember, Akim, when they collapse the economy and they let chaos reign for a bit, and then they bring out the solution, it's just going to simply be digital money, which you'll be able to use with your phone and your email and whatnot, and I'm sure there's going to be some sort of digital government ID that they're going to issue you, kind of like the new social security number or something like that, right? But all these real IDs are tied to, basically. Well, eventually, and that's fine to go with that, right? We got to survive in the system. But what it is not okay to do, Akim, but we got to make sure that we step off that train before it, goes into the station, is when they say that this ID, this system that they've created, this straw man that they've created for you to operate in this new world order, when they say that has to go inside of you through some biometric ID, be it through a chip, a brain implant, right, or some microdots or all these different things, that's when you got to decline. That's when you have to understand that this is the mark of the beast coming to you, and like the apostles said, right, in those RFID implantable chips that they've been popularizing and normalizing. So hopefully this video was edifying, Akim, right? Be circumspect. These devils are about to push this agenda, so when it comes out, understand what it is. So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, let's give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom.